So, Cannith Crafting. What is Cannith Crafting and why is it important? Cannith Crafting is the ability to use essences that you find, whether you get them from doing quests or you deconstruct items to create new items that can be malleable in pretty much however you want them to be. It has some uses, and I'm going to try to detail those today and why you should potentially invest in Cannith Crafting. So for most people, it's a very time-consuming thing. It takes a very long time to level up your Cannith Crafting skills. And what are those skills? Well, they're right here. Under the character sheet, there's a crafting tab, and it'll have these levels. And each one has experience. I should be in the crafting hall if I talk about this. But each one of these is levels and experience. And your levels and experience, they level up when you deconstruct items and when you craft new items from that particular school. As your level increases, you get to create better and better items, obviously because you become more skilled. But what kind of items can you actually make? What would make it better for Cannith Crafting over the regular loot generation? Well, there's a couple things you can't do. The new loot generation is a lot more powerful than regular Cannith Crafting. Cannith Crafting is amazing in that it allows you to make specific items with specific properties. So, for example, hitting oozes sucks as a melee, because they break all your weapons. However, I don't want my weapons to break. If I don't want my weapons to break, I need something that resists ooze damage. You either get yourself a Muckbane, or you go and craft yourself an Everbright weapon from Cannith Crafting. This item right here is Cannith Crafted, so it's craftable. I made it myself, and it's Everbright, so which means it is completely immune to oozes and rust monsters. So when I need to fight oozes and rust monsters, I slap on this weapon, and boom boom, doesn't break. And I never have to worry about it. You can't always just find Everbright items. Sometimes you're going to check the auction house and you just won't find them, and you won't find them when you do your quests, especially if it's an item you specifically need. What if you're a Kopesh user and you really want Kopeshes? That kind of sucks. You can't really, always count on just finding Everbright Kopeshes. With Cannith Crafting, you can just make one. So this is the Cannith Crafting Hall here. It's in, there's two of them. There's one in House Cannith. There's also one in House K, which is where I am. And there's one on your guild airship. So, how exactly does this work? I'm going to walk you through some items and kind of explain why it's good and how you can do it. The first, I'm going to show you a couple items that I have that are fantastic, and if you do some basic Cannith Crafting, you can get for yourself as well. The first one is Goggles of Secret Door Detection. You ever been running around at the low level quests and you find just doors are popping up or people aren't even searching? That's how they do it. Goggles of Secret Door Detection. It's a minimum level 3 item. It's very easy to make, but it makes so that any doors with DC 20 or less, they just automatically pop up. They're just open. You don't have to search them, you don't have to do anything. So, pretty much, it works for almost every quest all the way up till almost level 10. You just throw these bad boys on, and all the doors open for you. Don't miss any more chests ever again. So that's one of the great items you can make. Another great item that you can make, I believe I have it here. It's somewhere in this bank, and I'm going to sift through this, though I don't want to, so I'm trying to do it quickly with my brain. Right here. Necklace of Minute Seeing, 10. So, getting items of particular stats, such as Search, is really, really important. If you're playing a rogue, you will have this problem all the time. You'll go to the auction house, you'll type in Search, and no items will show up. It just sucks. You're gonna have this situation where you're like, man, I want to be a good rogue, and you're apologizing to your team, and you're like, guys, I'm sorry, I can't find these items. I'm sorry, I can't, I can't get the traps. I just don't have the items. Because people, like me and like you, go, oh my god, search item, I'm gonna post it in the auction house for 200,000 plats. New players can't buy that. And even when you don't post it on the auction house for 200,000 plats, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna keep this for my character. So it's very hard to get search items. However, you can just Cannith craft yourself one. So, how do we do Cannith crafting? Well, I'm going to swap character and check. But first I got linked an item. Level 17 ring, 7 con, 8 dex. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to go into the detail of how you can do Cannith crafting, how it's easy, and the best ways to level up. There's a couple tricks that you can actually use that I've learned myself on making it way easier to just quickly progress. Because when I first started out, I was leveling really, really slowly, and then there's a couple methods you can use to just super boost it up. So I'm going to log into my old main character, Strimtom. Strimtom was abandoned because he was on a wizard life, and he still is on that wizard life. The first tip to leveling your Cannith crafting that I can give you is be an artificer. As an artificer, you get a base plus 10 to all these stats. it goes away when you TR out of it. So if you're an artificer, all these would count as 10 higher. So if you just want to have a Cannith Crafting character, just one character dedicated to it, level an artificer up to 20 and then do all your crafting on him. Guarantee you it'll make it way easier on yourself. But what exactly can you do, and how do you do it? Well, when you're in any Cannith Crafting hall like this, there's going to be two sides to it. One of them is going to have like an auction guy, and the other one's going to have a bank guy. I like being in the bank guy side, so that way you can always grab anything you need out of the bank. There's a couple rooms here. The first one is deconstruction. So deconstruction allows you to basically deconstruct items and use them however you like. So I have a ring here. It's craftable. Do I have any items I can actually deconstruct right here? I don't think I have any items I want to destroy on this character. Kopesh's, Maelstrom, a Maul. Oh no, all these items I like kind of want. Here we go, Hat of Intimidate. I don't want this Hat of Intimidate anymore, so I want to deconstruct it. There are multiple ways you can deconstruct items. You can either disjunct them, which means you can then start crafting on them. It strips the magical properties of the item and it turns into an item like this, a ring which is just craftable, but it gives you essences. Fantastic little items that allow you to craft stuff. Or you can get your essences by just doing quests. I type in essence, and then you collect up thousands of them in your ingredients bags. Crafting is going to require all these essences. They're pretty cheap on the auction house. People will sell them all the time. Also, if you do a couple lives, you're going to have thousands of these things just laying around. So once you've done a couple lives, it's very easy to get into it. But you can make some pretty amazing items. So, once you've deconstructed your items, you leveled up a little bit. How do you do your actual crafting? Well, next, you want to head over to either bound shards or unbound shards. When you craft stuff, you either make it bound to your character and account, or you can give it to anyone you want. This is very important. Bound shards are way easier to craft than everything else. So, let's say I want to make a search item. I type in search, boom, it brings it up. It tells me how much skill I need to be able to make it. So if I want to make a level 1 search item or +1, it's level 3, 15, and it's pretty easy to understand from there. I can bring up my skill here. Character sheet, I'm skill 49, so I can keep going up. Skill 48, I have a 100% chance to do it. Skill 65, I only have a 19% chance. If you don't have at least 50, you can't make it. So once you have the materials, you just click it, it auto-loads the materials if you happen to have them, and then boom, you're good to go, and you can start making items. But not only are there items that you expect, like search, all the different stats, there are also some stats that you may not expect, which are very, very helpful and very, very easy to apply. Such as, so if I type in door, detect secret doors. That's a great ability. It's super useful to have on pretty much any item. Another one that you may not have known about, melee, oh, this one. This one's very high level, but Alacrity. Alacrity! You can actually get melee alacrity or ranged alacrity, attack speed, on items. At a low level, this is only a +2 item, so if you applied this to a weapon, it would be a +2 weapon. So it's a level 2 item, but it gives you attack speed. If you're dual wielding on a low level character, you put the main hand weapon as whatever you want, you put the offhand weapon with melee alacrity, and now you've got 10% attack speed. That's insane at early levels. It makes your animations more fluid, it makes the game feel better. A lot of really cool abilities from that one. And then finally, you can craft yourself some amazing, amazing level 1 items. For this one, I'm actually going to need a weapon. I don't happen to have a weapon, so I'm going to very quickly... Oh, what is this? A Corrosion Scepter of Acid Lore. Oh, I don't want to deconstruct that. That one looks really good. I'm going to quickly buy an item on the auction house, and we're going to create a level 1 item. Just an example item. Just going to quickly go to the auction here. Blah, blah, blah. I want to buy a weapon. An example. Say I'm playing this character. This is a Kopesh character, and I'm going to be reincarnating. So I want to have a Kopesh that I can use at early levels. I click buyout, so I get the absolute cheapest one. Hey, look! It's a super cheap Kopesh. Buy. Don't care what it does. I don't care what the item does originally, because I'm going to deconstruct it so I can craft it myself. Jump over here. Ooh, I sold auctions. Jump over here. Quickly grab my Kopesh. Here it is in my inventory. And I'm going to head over to the item deconstruction bench. Item deconstruction requires certain materials. All those materials can be bought from the craftsperson. There's a crafting vendor in the craft hall. Having a big ingredients bag is important for this, so if you need a bigger ingredients bag, head to the 12 and get one, or buy one on the DDO store, which is what I did. I bought one of the huge 400 slot ones, and I never have to worry about it ever again. So I dump my Kopesh in here, and I can either deconstruct it for water essences, because it has high level water, which is the cold effect, air essences, which is the sonic lore effect, or a +3 enhancement spirit from the +3 effect. I don't want to do that, I want to deconstruct it, so we're going to deconstruct it. And bam! Now I have a vanilla item that I can now apply stuff to. So I'm going to make it a super powerful, unbelievably god tier item for level 1. The first thing we're going to get is Bleed. Bleed? That's right! This bleeding effect creates a shard that deals 1 to 8 damage to targets that are vulnerable to bleeding. The most interesting part about this is if you look at the top right corner, that's a +1. A d8 extra damage effect on a +1 item. I can't actually make this shard because I don't have a lesser body essence though. When you do loot quests, you only get greater essences, you don't get lesser essences. So, how do you get lesser essences? I can't make this one. I have everything else. I have the required collectible, the Blades of the Dark Six. I have the shards, and I have this. I need lesser essences. Well, lesser essences either come from deconstruction, or deconstructing your own essences. I head over to this craftswoman, and I say, hey woman, I would like to trade essences. I type in body, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to convert my body, and we're going to sunder some essences. Basically, you can break down 1 greater into 5 lesser. So I'm going to do 10 right here, so I'll have 50 lying around. Boom. Just a quick breakdown. It does take some time, so if you want to do like hundreds at a time, make sure you go make yourself a cup of coffee or something. You know, take a quick break. You can go ahead and do that. And I went to the wrong place. Oopsie. Bam. So I can go back to bleed. And look at this. We're going to create a bleed shard. So boom, it crafts 1 shard. So now I've got 1 item. But I want to have... But this is... Bleed is a prefix. Items can have 1 prefix and 1 suffix, which means I can have an extra thing. So, oops, I crafted a second one by accident because I clicked the wrong button. Well, now I have 2. What do I want my suffix to be? Well, I've already got a d8 damage, so my Khopesh, if I crafted it right now, would just be a d8 plus a d8. Let's make it even better. What if I type in acid? Ooh. Where is it? Acid shard, an extra d6 damage. Well, that's also a +1. It also requires weathered crypt moss, which I don't have. What about fire? Can I do fire? I don't know which materials I do or don't have. Fire. I just want an example. Why do you do this to me? What about frost? Where's something here? Frost shard. I don't have this either. No! My example is ruined! Oh, God. Lightning? Oh, it's shock, isn't it? It's shock. No, I was gonna do this example. I should have prepared this more beforehand. Shock. Can't do it either. Anyway, I would have a suffix that's only +1. So, 2 +1 items. And if I get here, craft this, go to my bag. Everything goes into the bag after I craft it. I've got a lot of shards and stuff in this bag that I don't care about. Anyway, pop out my shard of bleeding. Now I have it. So here I have my shard of bleeding that would add a d8 bleed damage. I can then add a d6 acid damage. So my sword would be a level 2 item that does a d8, a d8, and a d6. So it's what, 3 to 20 damage? Or 3 to 22? That's really good on a level 1 item. But it gets even, or a level 2 item. But it gets even better. This is the coolest part. I wish somebody had taught me this right away. On the first page when you go in here, there's a little, if you keep scrolling down, maybe it's not going to be here. If I type in, I believe it's Master? Yeah, you type in Master, you can make a shard of Masterful Craftsmanship. What this does is it's the same Masterful Craftsmanship effect that you get when you see those items with the little blue border. It's essentially an item that is 1 level lower than it should be, because it's been masterfully crafted. You can do this yourself. All it requires is 25 of 2 essences. You can use lesser essences, so just cracks open some essences and throw them in. So I can just be like, oh, lesser good essences, blah blah blah. That takes up 1 slot, and I don't know if and then lesser arcane, boom. So it's super easy to make because these cost nothing because they're lesser, and it takes a mark of Cannith. Well, where do you get these? Aren't these like really rare? This little mark of House Cannith? They're actually not. If you go get yourself some House Cannith favor by doing the 3 quests in House Cannith, Power Play, Schemes of the Enemy, and the other one, they're level 19 quests, of course. If you do all 3 of those, you get access to House Cannith Rep Vendor, and you can buy these. They're like 100 plats, and once you buy them, they're account bound. So you can just buy like 300, and then you just dump them in your shared bank, and then all of a sudden, you have these forever, and that's what I did. I earned my House Cannith Crafting, or my House Cannith Rep 1 time, and now I have infinite marks of House Cannith. So all of a sudden, I can craft this item. I have a bound shard of masterful craftsmanship, I have a Khopesh, and I have this. I can apply these 3 items, and if I had a suffix shard as well, I could apply my suffix shard, and then all of a sudden, boom, we have a Khopesh that would have acid, bleeding, and just be a Khopesh on its own for level 1. Really powerful item. So that's essentially what you can make. You can make really great twink gear, really great leveling gear, and then finally, as I said, you can make those special affixes like Alacrity, like Detect Secret Doors. There's one more affix I want to show you guys that you may or may not know about, and this is Invulnerability. Invulnerability grants a suit of armor, damage reduction 5 versus magic. If you happen to have one of these shards of Masterful Craftsmanship, you can make this a level 2 affix. So you craft one of these, you put it on a piece of armor, and at level 2 it gives you DR5. DR5 means you take no damage. So this is great until about level 8 or 9. DR5 is super strong. Taking 5 less damage from everything is really great, and that's awesome. However, this is very important. When you create bound shards, if you actually make the items, it will become bound to you, your character, not bound to account. If you want to pass it to a character, you have to take this item, which is bound to account, all your shards, which are all bound to account, and your item. You have to ship them to the character, so you have to go and give them to your shared bank. Then you have to take them out on that character, and then you craft the item. If you do it beforehand, it becomes bound to character, which kind of sucks. To circumvent this, if you complete any of the standard quest chains, so like Shantycore, Waterworks, anything like that, all of those quest rewards, when you deconstruct them, will be bound to account no matter what. So that's the one way to circumvent that. Now, you can also make unbound shards, so you can just trade them to other players. So somebody could say, oh, I need a search item. So I can go here, and I can be like, oh, no problem, bud. I'll make you a search item. I'm a crafter, I took the time out. But the thing you notice right away, making a +5, well, that's 75%. Making a +7, I need skill 74 for a +7. Oh no, I can't make a +7. Crafting for other people is infinitely more difficult. So when there are people on your servers that can craft stuff for you, they're super cool, but they put a lot of time into it. So if somebody does make you something good, be nice to them. Now the last thing I'm going to teach you guys about is actually leveling up. The way you level up, and the most efficient way to level up, is to craft shards. So I go over to my shard thing, whatever, this here, the recipe book. I want to sort it by experience points, so it brings up whatever gives me the most experience. And let's say I want to focus on Divine. I want to focus on leveling up my Divine skill. So I set this to whatever I think it is, like 60, oh, 67 is too high, 55? Oh, even that's too high. I don't know, 45. Perfect, so I set it to 45, I scroll through till I can find a thing that I can make. Look at this, I can make this Nihil shard, 50% chance, gives me experience, and I can use that to level up. That's essentially how you level up. You just click into XP, you find whatever's the hardest to make, and you go from there. It'll give you the most experience. Try to make things that cost less, and also try to make things that don't require things like a medium infernal chain, because that's a shroud item, and that's hard to come by, so don't make these. But there's an easier way to do it. As it turns out, if you want to level up your skill, the best way to do it is using bound shards. Or sorry, unbound shards. When you make stuff for other players, lower level items give you more experience points. So as a result, if I turn off my Divine and my Arcane, and I just go straight to Elemental, these Magnetism shards give me a lot of experience points, but they cost way less materials than if I was to try to make this with a bound shard. So if you do plan on leveling it, make yourself a bunch of unbound shards, and that's the best way to go about it. Because some of these things cost so little. Like this is a level 74 recipe, but it only cost me 12 greater essences. So it's kind of nice. So that's Cannith Crafting in a nutshell. Very useful, has a lot of niche uses, but when you see people running around with at low levels and they take no damage, they've got an invulnerability item. If they're walking around and they're all of a sudden just doors are popping up near them, it's because they have a tech door item. If you see them attacking really fast, they probably have an attack speed item, and if they're a rogue, you better bet they've got Cannith crafted items that's going to give them disable, search, and potentially open lock, although you don't really need that high. Especially low-level weapons. Low-level weapons can get very crazy, very fast. So that's the kind of the rundown. I hope you guys learned something and you can kind of bring it into your own game. Cannith Crafting is very intricate, and they can make a lot of really cool stuff with it. However, this is not the end. Cannith Crafting is actually getting an update. All of these cool new items that people have been finding, I don't have any on this character. Oh, I have one. This Enraging Hat of Accuracy 7. All these new items are infinitely better than your older items. So this character has a lot of old items. Like, look at this. Goggles of Intelligence 6, no other stats. If this was a new item, it would be Intelligence 6 and something. Everything always has 2 effects. Older items didn't. The Cannith Crafting system, at some point soon, hopefully within the next year, will be getting updated with the entire new crafting subset. All these new effects, like Insight and other things, Healing Amp, are going to be added in to the Cannith Crafting, and they're going to rework the way the level scaling works. That's right, they are revamping it. I can confirm they are revamping it. So, right now, consider it like this. Almost all the old items are complete dumpster tier trash garbage. And yet some of them are still good enough with Cannith Crafting because of how good Cannith Crafting can actually be. Think about how good it would be if you could just craft all your own items. You remember when I showed you guys that the bracers that were +7 strength, +7 con, and parrying? What if you could just make that because you had enough Cannith Crafting? You don't have to find it. You don't have to like play for a billion hours. You could just make it. That's what I'm talking about. So, bone up on your skills, practice a lot, level it up, and I guarantee it'll be worth it in the end. Also, if you mouse over it, it'll even tell you some of these things. So if you mouse over Arcane, it says, oh, you can make Strength 4, or Wisdom 5, or, you know, Greater Efficacy, and things like that. Or, what is this? Yeah, like Holy, Undead Bane, Death Block, Everbright, and what is this here? Like Fortification, things like that. So yeah, so I hope you guys learned something. And that's Cannith Crafting. So yeah. I think I'm done for today. I went a bit longer than I was supposed to, but I had a lot of fun today streaming for you guys. I'm glad to be back. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week, but I promise I will be here next week, the week after, and I'm gonna keep doing my thing. So, if you liked what I did, you had a lot of fun, and you love the sunglasses, which are amazing, I highly recommend you go here, and you follow me on Twitch. Is my own channel, my personal channel. It's super cool. You'll have a good time. I stream relatively irregularly. I stream like almost never because I'm working so hard right now. But when I'm not working like 70-hour weeks, I will be streaming more, I promise. You can also catch all my updates on Twitter. I post them there. I also post random photos of what I'm doing, and I'm currently learning to make GIFs because I don't really know how to make them. So it's like, it's hard because like whenever I make like a GIF, it always turns out bad, but I'm figuring it out. But someday my Jive skills will be up to par, so we'll try that. And also, as I've said before, I'm on the player council, and I do lobby for all sorts of crazy stuff. So if you happen to be, you know, like, man, Strimtom, I want you to do this, you can always contact me at my email address, strimtom@gmail.com. I reply to every single one. So if you, like I said, it's an easy way to reach out to me and contact me. Blah, 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 blah. And the Maverick Hunter build is either going to come out this week or next week, the guide. I just have to finish a couple things. And I'm exhausted, so I'm going to go to bed. Oh god. So thank you guys. You're all superheroes. I love you. And you're amazing. I love you guys. I'm just gonna go to bed.